Hey guys, so I finally have the 10 cards done. Jax got sick, so now Riley's getting over it and Jax is now sick. I hope they don't get me sick before I leave for Maryland on Saturday. Before we get started with the 10 cards, I can't remember if I showed you guys this or not. I went through my videos and I don't remember seeing it. So I'm going to show you real quick. I picked up a quick order from Brutus Monroe. They have a lot of stuff being retired, so I picked up this birthday stencil, which I thought was cute. And I picked up this fairy stamp set, and it's got these cute little hills that you can turn into homes and all these different windows and fences and ladders and doors, little decorations. So I can't wait to give that a try. Okay, and with this kit, the only add-on I bought was that big background heart stamp. I can't remember what it's called, but it was the rubber stamp. I already put them away, so sorry. And then I made a heart stencil out of some small heart dies, the one that came in the Hero Arts kit this month, and then some other ones I had in my stash. And I used this once. I wanted to use it more, and I ended up only using it once. And I also used a cloud die I had to cut out a few clouds, and then one continuous top, not so much the bottom here, but the top to use on one of the cards in the kit. And I'll show you how I did that. And before we go any further, in the unboxing I told you guys this was Unicorn Dust embossing powder. It is not embossing powder, it is glitter. So I suppose when I order things I should probably read the description more carefully instead of just assuming that I know what it is. So it is a really pretty glitter. You guys saw how pretty it was. I just don't know how often I'll use it because I'm not really a glitter person. I do have glitter, but $6. $6. And this I can turn into any color I want. If I would have known offhand that this was glitter, if I would have read, I probably would not have bought it. Okay, on to the cards. They want to show you guys that I made this background with watercolor paper and used my Zig and Arteza real brush pens, but I did not end up using this. I thought the orange I used on the awning and parts of the building was way too bright, so I never finished using it. I'll probably give it to Riley to use on her cards. So card number 1. I did use the building a couple times, and I did use the easel, but I really did try to stay away from making repeats over and over using the same main stamp, because to me they just start looking the same in the end. So I tried to do some different things with other stamps in the kit, but the first card is the building, and it's one-dimensional, flat, one-layer card. Looks like I gotta use some better tape because it's starting to pop up. Anyway, I used my Zig and Arteza real brush pens and my watercolor pen, my water pen, sorry, to do this no line. I tried to do this no line coloring or watercoloring, so that's why it looks the way it does. When I stamped the balloons, I kind of wrote in with my little pen, love, XOXO, be mine. But other than that, I just stamped out the sentiment after I was done. I turned that into a window, and I think it turned out pretty good for being no-line watercoloring, because I'm not very good at watercoloring. And this is one of the few where I put nothing on the inside, but my cards do have insides this time around. Okay. Card 2 is another storefront. This one, though, I did something a little different, and I took all the grays and watercolors that I had and painted my watercolor piece, and then I used this stone background embossing folder that I had, and I embossed that, cut it out, put it on the red cardstock. And the storefront itself is popped up on foam tape because I wanted the inside to look like you were staring at a shelf on the inside of the window. The flowers were colored with gel pens themselves. The storefront was colored with my Copics. And I used a little bit of, I think, Tea Rose Zig clean color pen, real brush pen, to do the background in there. I didn't want it to be something that drew your eye to it so much. I wanted the flowers to do that, and I thought it turned out cute. Wishing you a happy Valentine's Day. And this is where we start to get into some different things. So card 3, I thought that bird cage was really cute. I rounded the corners of my card base and the first layer with my corner punch. I did that background heart stamp with some gold embossing powder, and then I just did inked up the edges with tumbled glass. Then I cut this strip out with one of my scallop Lawn Fawn edge dies, top and bottom, and stamped out "You're Beautiful" with my Simon Says stamp embossing ink pad, and you did that with gold embossing powder. I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember what I did to these cards. I'm kind of fumbling here. I took some of that leftover light pink cardstock from the fairy kit last month from Hero Arts and cut out 3 scallop circles with my Sizzix dies. I took some very fine gold embroidery floss, poked a hole with a tiny pin into each bird cage and cut the stem off, that little stem that was stamped on, and just stuck the gold floss through, taped it down on the back of my scallop circles. And if you can see very lightly on the lines, the harsh lines of the bird cage, I used a little bit of my light blue Zig watercolor real brush pen, to give that bird cage some color. And I printed out the music notes, and the 3 circles are popped up on foam tape, and that's the ribbon that came tied around the kit. No bow or anything, just wanted it to kind of differentiate and separate the background from the circles. It says, "You're beautiful, be mine." Card 4, I wanted to do a heart. I actually did this heart 3 different ways. I did start out with the heart that Riley wanted to show you guys in the unboxing, which was this. I decided I did not like it. I don't know if it was the way I colored the inside, because it wasn't the proper paper to use the watercolor markers on, so it didn't really spread the way I wanted it to. And I wasn't sure if I liked the way I stamped out the music notes, so I never used it. This was my 3rd attempt at a wreath, and I just used 2 different sets of flowers, the smaller ones, colored them in with pink and purple, put the heart in between, the outline heart that came in the kit. And after I colored that in and just kind of fussy cut, leaving a small white border around the outside and inside, I popped them up on some foam squares. This is a piece of pattern paper from the limited edition Simon Says stamp kit from last year. I never really used the kit, so I had a lot of paper left over. And then I used some of the heart sequins that came in the sequin mix from last year's Hero Arts Valentine's kit. And then they had holes in them. So I used a little bit of that pink glimmer lacquer pen in the middle of each heart. And I just placed them haphazardly on the paper. And as you can tell, they come in 3 different colors. One that's kind of iridescent, and then some red hearts, and then some pink hearts. This sentiment was not in the kit. I felt like I was using the same sentiments over and over, so I die cut out heart. I think that came in a Simon Says stamp kit last spring. And I did that with red glitter paper and pixie dust glitter paper from Lawn Fawn. And that one's empty on the inside. Card 5, I did use the easel, and I was so excited. I got to use the chalkboard paper that I got for Christmas this year. I popped it up on some foam tape. I heat embossed in purple, Prismacolor or Prisma pink from last year's Hero Arts kit, and then some Simon Says stamp gold, the different hearts. Stamped out "Be Mine Valentine." Now, Lindsay told me when she looked at this card that it did not make sense because that comma wasn't there, so I had to make her happy, draw in a comma with my embossing marker, and then put some gold embossing powder on it. It turned out a little thick because I couldn't see what I was drawing, but it made Lindsay happy. I put a little can down there with some tulips coming out, And now this background paper is a piece of black cardstock. I rounded the edges on that. And I used some Moonstone Nouveau Glimmer Paste. And I used that stencil that I made. And when I let that dry, and then I put it down on the background, put the easel on top. And that's it for card 5. Card 6 is one of my favorites. We have it on a red card base. We have a black glittery matte. And then we have Bristol smooth cardstock, and I heat embossed the heart balloons over and over again. But instead of coloring them with markers or gel pens, I used my Perfect Pearls mixed with water, and I used gold, red, blue, and purple. And on this one I tried to make the red white like a pink with the Forever Pearl and Forever Red. It did not work. It still looks red to me. Then I used some of each of what was left over to splatter the card. I used some of the same black to tie it in, that glittery cardstock. Now it's not actually cardstock. It has an adhesive background. I have no idea what company made it. It was in the clearance bin at Joann's when I was making Jax's birthday invitations. And I still had some left over. It was a really long, big sheet. I cut that out with my scalloped hearts from scrapbook.com, and I put the black heart on top of a slightly bigger gold heart from the gold paper that was left over from last month's Hero Arts kit. Now, the dies that came with that set, the next one up was way too big, so I did that with a pair of scalloped scissors. I thought it turned out pretty good. And instead of using a stamped sentiment from the kit, I used the stickers that came for the envelopes, to seal the envelopes. And I cut around the words and stuck that on there. You are loved. That was blank. I thought I put Happy Valentine's Day in a lot more of these. It must have been something I thought of and did not do. Yes, I'm counting over here. So card 7. By now I was struggling with different ways to use the stamps that did not include the easel in the storefront. So I used that oval stencil I made to do the blue background with tumbled glass, and then a little bit of mowed lawn and twisted citron combined for the grass. Did I say grass for this? For the sky, and then for the grass. I did some picked raspberry for the outer edge because I knew I was going to use a pink card base, and then I blended a little bit of that into the sky so that there was a more seamless change, and so it would turn the edge like a light purple. And it did turn it a light purple. Now you have to be very careful when you do that with oxides or just regular distressing, because it can turn muddy on you. I've noticed the oxides do it quicker. And then I took a whole bunch of the elements that I had cut out and colored in. Some of them I fussy cut, some of them I didn't. I don't know why I did it that way. And I put 3 flat crates down, popped 2 up on foam tape and gave them a little bit of a shadow. And then we have the bigger canisters out on the edge. And I like the way it turned out. I thought it turned out pretty cute. I wasn't so sure about it in the beginning. Wishing you a beautiful, lovely, happy day, in case you don't want a Valentine's Day card. Card number 8. I wasn't too sure about this one either. It definitely did not take the direction that I thought it was going to take. I used another piece of that leftover gold paper from last month's kit as the mat. I used my wonky stitch dies for both rectangles. These are 3 clouds cut out of that same gold paper, but I just used a little bit of pink that I used on this one. I think it was Worn Lipstick. I just wanted to ink blend the edges, and then I did a little bit on the clouds so that they weren't so shiny and stark. These hearts were a pain in the butt. They came from the heart in the stamp kit and the hearts that were on the background stamp I bought. This is what's left over. And then I colored in as many as I possibly could and painstakingly fussy cut them out. It was a pain in the patootie, and it took way too long, and I will never do anything like that again. And then I colored them all in with different color glitter gel pens. and put glossy accents on them. Well, I started out with my Hero Arts lacquer pen and ran out, so the half were done in that, half were done in glossy accents. And then I had them just falling down to the word heart, and it just looked bare. It looked like it was missing something. So I colored and fussy cut some more of the flowers and stuck them down at the bottom so it looked like they were getting lots of love rain. And I used that heart dye again with the pixie dust. I hope I'm not getting that wrong. That Lawn Fawn pretty glimmery white glitter cardstock, and then there is red foil cardstock behind that as the shadow. The center panels popped up on foam tape, and so is the front cloud. And that's it for card 8. Card 9 is one of my favorites also. The kids love this one. So it's on a red card base. It does have a matte of vellum. I took one of the vellum envelopes and turned it into a matte. I don't know why. I could have used a regular piece of vellum and saved the envelope, but I was trying to use the stuff from the kit. Like, you guys don't have vellum at home. I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, then I used another piece of the light pink glittery cardstock from last month's kit. I had quite a bit of it left. And this is where that cloud stencil that I made came in. This I used around the edges, and I used Rainbow Sparkle embossing powder from Brutus Monroe. And then on the background, it's very faint, but you can see them. I stenciled clouds with white Hero Arts Unicorn pigment ink, and then went over them with clear glitter embossing powder. I die cut out the bicycle and the 2 crates, 2 flowers, and these heart balloons I stamped and masked over and over again. I wanted it to look like, you know, the bike was floating away with a bunch of love. I thought it was really cute. I liked the way it turned out. Jax tried to take the card so he could ride the bicycle along the floor, and I had to tell him no. He was very upset. He gave the bike a kiss. And inside it simply says, "I love you." I thought trying to force a sentiment on the front would be too much. So I just left the front blank. And for the last card, card number 10, I was going for something simple, but something that was still different. So I took regular vellum paper this time, and I did the background with that background heart stamp and the pink Prisma embossing powder from last year's Hero Arts kit. I glued that down using my Deluxe Nouveau glue and put it like around the hearts on the back where you couldn't see, and it worked out pretty good. I mean, you really can't see the glue. Then I used this piece of black and white striped, came off of a My Favorite Things postcard from an order, and I knew I wanted to use it on a card, and it's been sitting on my desk for a couple months, and I finally found a way to use it. I wanted to bring the black from the stickers in, and I think it looks really cute. So these are the stickers, the other stickers that came to seal the vellum envelopes. The hearts I did on watercolor paper with my distress markers in Shaded Lilac, Cracked Pistachio, and Picked Raspberry. I was going to use Worn Lipstick and my marker was running out, so I went with Picked Raspberry. I used that scalloped heart die again, cut them out, put the stickers on, then trimmed off the excess from the stickers. And then I did Wishing You a Happy Valentine's Day. Cut that out myself with black paper on black cardstock, and that is Hero Arts white embossing powder. I was going to put I Love You on the inside and forgot again. So that's it for the 10 cards, guys. I hope you enjoy them. I hope it gives you some ideas if you haven't already finished your kit. It's a little bit later than I had hoped for, so by the time I take pictures of these to put up on my Instagram, it's probably going to be time to go to bed. So I will be starting the limited edition kit tomorrow, and hopefully I can get that video out to you before I leave for Maryland. I hope you guys have a wonderful day and a wonderful week, and if you're in one of the bands of very cold or a lot of snowy weather, be careful, be safe. I know it's going to be very cold here on Wednesday, but luckily we finally get a break from the snow, and it's going to hit in the north towns north of us. It's not going to hit us unless it switches. Anyway, be safe, you guys. Have a very healthy, happy, safe week, and hopefully I'll see you before I leave for Maryland. And I will take as much video of my trip down and my stay, the event, and my trip back as I possibly can for you guys. Bye-bye.